You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
The significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Well, I think culture is, it is a reflection of our moment and our time, right? And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment. And we should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy, because, you know, it comes in the morning.
It's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
Every election cycle, we talk about this is the most election of our lifetime. Lawrence, this one is. I have been fortunate and blessed to, during the course of being vice president, have many situations where it becomes clear to me that there are, you know, people of every age and gender, by the way, who see something about being the first that lets them know they don't need to be limited by other people's limited understanding of who can do what. And I think that's important, and it relates to all people. First of all, I would say that age is more than a chronological fact.
What would a Trump versus Kamala Harris presidency actually look like? This is actually very easy to predict. You can do this yourself. You know how you can predict what each of their presidencies would look like? Just look at what they've done so far, right? Trump has been president previously for 4 years, and Kamala essentially has been vice president with the authority of a president for the last 4 years, right? And this is Biden's words. He said it himself, that there was not a decision that she couldn't have made that I couldn't have made, right? He said he gave her full autonomy to make decisions, almost like she's the president. So there's really nothing that she could have done. A little dry under here. There's nothing that she could have done that Biden would have stopped her, apparently, according to him, right? His words, not mine. And so far, you've seen what the last 4 years of their administration has brought the economy, has brought the borders, and all of the above, right? It's been pretty bad. I mean, if we were to grade it from, you know, A to F, like we're in school, I would give it a D minus, if not a complete fail, because things have just gone through the roof as far as costs go. Obviously, I've talked about that a number of times. Inflation, the rising costs of goods that she is claiming she is going to stop the price gouging. I mean, it's just ludicrous. It's like, you mean the inflation and the price gouging that your policies caused, right? Because this wasn't happening 4 years ago, right? And going to Trump's presidency, whether you like him or not, those 4 years were pretty good, right? He didn't do everything that he said he was going to do, obviously. He didn't accomplish everything he said he was going to do, but he did a whole lot of what he said he was going to do. More than I've seen any other politician do. He did a whole lot, besides, like, say, like Reagan or someone like that, right? I can't think of anyone else. Maybe even a Clinton. I remember when Bill Clinton got busted for the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, and everyone made such a huge deal about that. And I think I was like probably the only one who said, well, okay, that, you know, his infidelity is between him and his wife. What I care about is the guy doing his job, right? How is the economy? How is immigration, all that? And during that time, I was in my 20s. I felt like it was fine. I didn't really notice anything like absurd or like, oh my gosh, man, everything's so pricey. No. It was fine under Clinton. It was fine under Reagan. But then again, I was only in high school when Reagan was president. But, you just have to look at the time they've been in office, the time they've had power. And both of them have had power. Trump and Kamala have had power. Obviously, Kamala was a VP, so her going out there claiming, oh, well, I wasn't president. Yeah, but again, Joe Biden's going out there saying he gave you, basically power of attorney to go out there and make decisions on his behalf, right? If you wanted to close the border, you could have closed the border. If you wanted to, just keep some of Trump's policies to keep inflation down, you could have done that, right? Or Trump's border policies could have done that. But no, they basically tore it apart. And then they came back later and said, oh, we got this new bill and he's not signing it. I wouldn't sign that either. I already fixed the border, right? If I were him, I would be like, I already fixed it. I ain't signing that. And not only that, but there's a bunch of pork barrel spending in that bill, right? There's a bunch of like 80% of that bill, the money's not even going towards that border. It's going to fund more wars. Of course, I'm not going to sign that. So it's pretty obvious. You can see what's happening, what would happen. Thing about Kamala, though, that I'm seeing is, and basically what she's already claiming she's going to do is go after these social media platforms, which are mostly left-leaning, and curtail their ability to allow you and me to speak freely, right? And they are going to decide, they want to decide what is considered hate speech or misinformation. And if they don't like it, they can, ban you off the platform, fine the platform, or incarcerate you. That means jail, right? Just for speaking. I mean, they can easily come after any of my content and go, hey, this sounds misogynistic. What do you mean single moms produce, violent criminals? What do you mean it's a bad idea to be a single mom? Oh, that sounds like hate speech. Arrest him. Simple as that. Okay? Simple as that. This is why I will never get on board with the left. They are the matrix at this point. They are the establishment. Them and the legacy corporate media that I just cannot believe people will support. I'm like, why on earth would you want more government in your life? They're in our lives enough as it is. Why on earth would you want to invite more of that, right? I mean, and when it comes to misinformation, they want to decide what's misinformation, even though they've been wrong a number of times. Most recently with the Roni, right? When the Roni was happening, and they were spreading all this misinformation about masks, the jab, and keeping schools closed. I mean, all of that they ended up being wrong about. So who gets to decide what's misinformation? Who gets to decide what's hate speech? Because if I'm in power, I can decide that, hey, you guys promoting, say again, single motherhood, for just using that as the example, you guys promoting that is dangerous to society because they are going to produce more violent criminals. And that is a statistical fact, right? You guys promoting that is hate. I feel like that's hate. So let's incarcerate you. Yeah, no, right? That's why we have free speech. Okay? That is why we have the right to free speech. And anyone trying to take that away, anyone trying to suppress that, anyone trying to manipulate that, to me, is evil. Okay? Is evil. So, you really have to decide, like, what... I mean, I really hope one day that AI will get so advanced that we could have two presidents. I really wish we could have that now, right? We could have two presidents. And you have to live by the policies of the president you elected. Okay? So, if you elected, say, Biden, you get to pay $6, $7 gas like we had out in here in California for a while, right? You get to pay $7 a gallon for gas. If you voted for Trump, that's your guy, then you get to pay $2 for gas, right? If you voted for Trump, you get to buy eggs for, for $3, right? As opposed to $10. You get your Big Mac for $3 as opposed to $13 if you vote for, the other party. That's causing this to happen. So yeah, I really believe if we had two presidents, I think people would choose more wisely, right? Not with their emotions. And that's the problem right now is, You have half the country who votes based on reason and common sense and reality, objective reality. And then you have the other half of the country voting on emotion and subjective reality, right? Claiming men can get pregnant, claiming that, women, that men should be in women's sports and, all this other upside down nonsense. Denial of reality. That's a problem we have right now. And you notice that and I've said this before, whenever you make decisions based on emotion, they're going to be wrong, right? You're always going to get the short end of the stick. You're always going to make a mistake. But that's what, the Matrix wants, is you to be up in all of, up in your emotions. They don't want you to think reasonably. They don't want you to use common sense. They want you to act out with your emotions. How does the devil use you? How does the devil get inside your brain? How does the devil use you to do his bidding? You know what he does? How does he control you? He uses your emotions. Okay? He uses your emotions. Whenever somebody out there does something stupid, kills another person, or does something irrational that they end up regretting, does something crazy, does something malicious or violent, or you name it, or just chaotic, it's usually derived from their emotions, right? They're acting out emotionally. Okay? Whenever you get in a fight with somebody and they say a bunch of things they don't mean, or you say a bunch of things you don't mean, you regret it later, it's because you let your emotions get the best of you. That's what I teach on my channel. I teach you to keep your emotions in check, right? That's part of being a man. That's part of being connected with God. He wants you to be in control of you, right? Not out of control, but in control of you. Whereas the devil wants chaos, right? And he can't have chaos if you are rational, if you are logical, if you are reasonable. He needs you to be irrational, unreasonable, and emotional. That's how he controls you. Okay? So, yeah, I mean, as far as like what the presidency is going to look like, you already know what's going to happen, right? We've had 4 years of Trump. We know what he's going to do. He's going to basically cut taxes for everybody. He did that in the past. It wasn't just, rich people. He cut taxes for everybody. And he's going to close the border. I believe he's going to, because he's done it before, right? I mean, he had the lowest border crossings in over 40 years or something like that. Now he's claiming he's going to deport all the illegal immigrants that are here. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, they might try to deport some of them. They'll probably start with the most dangerous criminals. That's what they're going to do, is deport all of those people who have criminal records or who have committed crimes that are here illegally. And I'm on board with that. They should not be here committing crimes against American citizens. That's ridiculous. So I believe he'll go after them for sure, right? And all the gangs that have, from other countries that are here now causing havoc. But I mean, the ordinary Joe who snuck in and who's here, who's working, yeah, I don't think you're gonna get a knock on your door. I mean, there's just not enough resources, right? Unless you're in New York. They still won't. They'll go after you if you have a squirrel or a raccoon in your home. R.I.P. Peanut and Fred. So, yeah, we know what's gonna happen under Trump's presidency, and we can pretty much predict what's gonna happen under Kamala's presidency if she becomes president, and that is you're gonna see Biden's policies continue, but I believe it's going to get even worse. I mean, if you think the cost of eggs, the cost of food, groceries, gas, rent, taxes is high now, wait until she gets in the office. She's part of that machine. Of course she's going to raise all the prices on you, right? Of course. How are they going to get the money to pay for all their programs, right? Of course that they're not going to close the border. They're going to flood it even more because that's where they get their voters. If you're that naive, that stupid to think that these politicians actually care about families and care about, oh, they're asylum seekers. No, they just want to use them for votes, right? Because they know statistically, overwhelmingly, the people they let cross the border, that like I think like 75%, nearly 80% of them are going to vote Democrat, right? Do you think they're just letting them in because they're being altruistic and they care? No, they just want votes. They want to stay in power, right? And that's a way for them to guarantee that they'll stay in power, because they can't get, I mean, and this is what I can't stand about them. That's cheating in itself, right? How is that not treason? So yeah, it just drives me insane that they're just, it's like super underhanded, right? It's just super underhanded. And yeah, the fact that the left has, they're letting all these people through the border. They basically have 95 to 99% of the legacy media in their back pockets doing their bidding, throwing them softball questions during these presidential interviews, asking what flavor ice cream they like, or what kind of food they eat in the morning, what they have for breakfast. But then when you get like someone like Trump on there, they're like, why do you hate Mexicans? Huh? Why are you racist? Yeah, I mean, it's like they just throw these like absurd questions at him, right? Watch that interview where he went to, it was like the National Black Association something, but it was a black woman who like interviewed him, and I mean, she just went right after him, right? And then he came back at her and he said, this is the rudest opening to an interview I've ever had. You don't even say hello. You don't even greet me. You just come right after me, and it's true. He had a right to say that. However, if that was like a left-wing politician, oh my gosh, they'd be like, let's not ask them too hard questions, make them look bad. So what's your favorite color? What's your lucky number? And literally that's what they ask them. It's insane, right? So yeah, I mean, the fact that the left has the entire legacy media practically in their back pockets, and they have, most of Hollywood and all these celebrities in their back pockets, and they have most of corporate America in their back pockets. They usually get, like double the funding that the right gets during all these campaigns. The fact they have all of these resources in their back pockets to brainwash half the country, and they still barely win these elections, should tell you something, right? I mean, the right is the underdog in every single election. They're the underdog, and they still find a way to keep it close, right? They don't have celebrity endorsements. They don't have MSNBC, CNN, CNBC, and all that in their back pockets, or much less the late night talk show hosts. No, I mean, really, they don't have any of those people. They have Fox, who's, not really, in my opinion, that conservative. I think they're just controlled opposition, right? I believe they're just controlled opposition, because they fire you if you tell too much of the truth. Look what happened to Tucker Carlson or Trish Reagan. Who else was on that show that got fired? Yeah, they get rid of you if you talk too much of the truth. Glenn Beck. So yeah, you have to ask yourself, like, what's going to work for you, what policy is going to work for you, and do you want to live in reality, or do you want to live in a denial of reality? Do you really want the people in power that are putting tampons in boys' bathrooms, that are letting grown men in little girls' bathrooms, and can't even define what a woman is? And I mean, do you really want that party in power? Again, if the right was doing this, I would call them out just the same. But yeah, I cannot support a candidate who can't define what a woman is. Think that men can have babies, and want you to deny the fact that the price of everything, the basic price of the basic cost of living, have gone up 40%, man. I mean, it's like, I'm not going to deny reality, right? And the fact that they have so many of their supporters willing to deny reality is pretty scary. It's pretty scary. It just goes to show how deep the brainwashing goes, right? But most of their followers are female, right? And any of the men that follow them are female-minded, right? They were either raised by females, or they have an effeminate mindset, right? They're emotional, right? Again, that's how the devil controls you. It's through your emotions. And they're not rational men, right? They're irrational men. They're no different than women. So anyway, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think of today's coaching video, and I'll see you in the next one.